So it's that time again. It's that time to kick off BFL Season 4. And we get started this weekend on Lake Norman. You know, our season is starting a little bit earlier than usual. And the reason for that is I'm fishing 2 divisions this year. I'm fishing the North Carolina division and the Piedmont division. North Carolina typically starts in February. I'm used to starting our BFL season in April or the end of March. So we're starting about a month earlier. And fishing 2 divisions, you know, if there was one word that I could use to describe going into this year, that word would be more. Everything is more. More tournaments, more travel time, more costs, more hotel stays, more Airbnbs, more miles on my truck, more gas, more fish is being caught. You know, everything is more, but the biggest more is more rewards, more opportunity. And that's really what I want, is I want the opportunity. And that's why I'm fishing 2 divisions this year. I want to give myself the opportunity to prove to myself. This is, make no mistake about it, this is a prove it year for myself. I knew at the end of last year, I wanted to do something different going into 2020. I wanted 2020 to be my make it or break it year, my prove it year. And I, you know, tinkered with the idea of perhaps going to go fish something bigger, Bassmaster Opens or the FLW Series. You know, they have a couple of new divisions this year, and that would be a step up from these BFLs. But I decided against that because I felt like I'm just not ready. I don't have the experience just yet. I've only been fishing BFLs. I've got 3 full years under me, you know, under my belt now. I'm just not quite there yet to go take that next step. The biggest mistake I made in my career so far is I skipped steps. I didn't start as a co-angler. I went right into the boater side of things, and that cost me a lot of money, you know, because I didn't win. I didn't finish in the money. I didn't get my entry fees back. It cost me a lot of money, and I made a mistake. So I don't want to make that mistake again and try to take the next step on that ladder to success, and I'm just not ready for it yet. So I'm not ready to invest $1,500 per tournament or $1,700 per tournament. So what I decided to do was take on more for 2020 in these BFLs. The ultimate goal here is to be very successful this year in both of these divisions and qualify for regional championships, both on the James River and Lake Lanier down in Georgia. And you know, it's quite a lot to take on, for sure. It's a lot to take on. Fishing 2 divisions. I know some guys that do it. I know some guys that are successful at doing it, but you have to truly have to dedicate yourself, your life to this sport. And I'm prepared to do that. I'm prepared more than ever to do that. You know, I don't mind getting a little personal with you, but you know, I'm a single guy. You know, I'm not married. I don't even have a girlfriend. All I have in my life is that boat sitting out there right now. And that boat and a passion for this sport, that's all I have. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But because that's all I have, it allows me to put everything I got into it. So that's, you know, why I'm doing this. That's why I am taking on 2 divisions. I want to put everything I got into this, and I want to prove it to myself. Again, a prove it year. Before I can make that next step, I want to prove it to myself that I can compete. I can go to new lakes, new locations, and break them down in 2 or 3 days and have a successful tournament. And we get to try that right off the bat because these first 2 events, let's look at the schedule. February 29th, we're headed to Lake Norman. And I have very little experience on Lake Norman. very little experience, almost none. I've been on that lake 6 or 7 times. I fished 2 tournaments, one as a co-angler, one as a boater, and I just did really bad on both of them. They were way earlier in my career. They weren't FLW tournaments, they were Bass Nation tournaments. I just did not do well at all. It's really disappointing, actually. Our second event goes to South Carolina. We go to Lake Wiley. And I have 0 experience on Lake Wiley. So right out of the gate, you're gonna see me probably struggle. You really are. It's really, really hard to go to a brand new body of water and figure it out. It really, really is. The best thing an angler can have in his tackle box is experience on that particular body of water. It really is. And because of the lack of experience in these first 2 tournaments here, I'm nervous about them. I'm very, very nervous about them. But after these first 2 events, we actually get into some fisheries that I know and I understand. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 back-to-back-to-back tournaments on Carr Lake. 2 of those tournaments are for the Piedmont division and 1 is for the North Carolina division. So I'm going to be from April until, April until middle of May, I will be hard on Carr Lake. Carr Lake is going to be my home for like a month this year. Like we have triple tournaments on High Rock Lake. I'm on Carr Lake. So, you know, if you think about it, that can only benefit you really. By that 3rd tournament, you should really be able to have that place dialed in. And the tournaments are like weeks apart, 2 weeks apart in some cases. So you should definitely be able to find a pattern there during that stretch of tournaments. And maybe that pattern won't hold up, but it's the same time of year. It's springtime. It's still going to be that pre-spawn, post-pre-spawn, spawn time where you should be able to find a pattern and replicate that pattern for days at a time. So I'm looking forward to that little stretch there. But then right after that, we have another set of back-to-back tournaments on High Rock. And I have some success on High Rock. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to those times when I can go back-to-back in a couple of different locations. And especially places I've had success at before. And try to find a pattern, the winning pattern. And in fact, there's 2 FLW High Rock tournaments, but I have another one thrown in there too. I have a Bass Nation tournament that'll be the week before the first FLW tournament. So I'm gonna be on High Rock a lot as well. I will be on High Rock 3 weeks straight. 3 weeks straight. And that benefits me. By that 3rd tournament on High Rock, I have a Bass Nation tournament and 2 BFL tournaments back to back to back. By that 3rd tournament, just like Carr Lake, I should be able to find that winning pattern. I should be able to find a solid pattern anyway. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about being able to spend that much time on certain bodies of water to really help myself get dialed in on them and have really good tournament finishes. After High Rock, we have a little bit of a break actually. We're gonna have like a month and some change off, and in August, we will head to the James River. And I have I was gonna say I have a love-hate relationship with the James. I don't have a love-hate. I love the James. I like it. I have a love-hate relationship with tidal water bass fishing. And that is something I've 2 years in a row, I felt like I was on the winning pattern. I really did on the James River. I had really solid practice there 2 years ago, and I wrecked them. And I probably did too good in practice because my confidence went through the roof. Last year, I was around really solid quality fish, and I just didn't catch them. I really didn't. I couldn't get them to bite, but I know they were there because I could see them. I was on a spot in the morning. I had a topwater bite that was just, they were busting all around me, big fish, and I just couldn't get them to eat. My co-angler caught a couple of 3-pounders behind me, and it is what it is. But you know, this is the 3rd tournament I'll have on the James, and I'm itching for another opportunity there. I really am. Then we go to get into the super tournaments. And the super tournaments are 2-day events. You have to qualify to fish the 2nd day. The first one's going to be for the Piedmont division, which is going to be at Smith Mountain Lake. Now, Smith Mountain Lake, I believe it's a phenomenal fishery if you know how to fish it. I have fished 2 events up there, and I have been on a solid pattern there for 4 hours of probably 7 or 8 days on that body of water. So I am looking forward to going back there as well. And because I've got some experience there, I feel like I know the place pretty good now. I know how it fishes. I feel like I have a better understanding of how it fishes. So I'm looking forward to the Smith Mountain Lake in September. It's the exact same time of year that we went there last year. So I'm looking forward to getting back to Smith Mountain. And then we end our regular season at Lake Norman again. I'm not even want to think about that Norman in September right now because I'm so busy worried about Norman in February. So that's an event that we'll get to that when we get to it. But the big thing, the big thing I'm shooting for this year, and really all anglers that are participating in these tournaments are shooting for, is the getting to our regional championships. There's 2 that I'm hoping to make, one in each division. That's the James River Regional, and then there is the Lake Lanier Regional. And I want to get to these events. I want to qualify for them, and I want to get there easily. I don't want to be, scrapping for points at the end of the season, trying to make it to each of them. I want to prove to myself that I can fish 2 divisions all year long, do well in each of those divisions, and qualify for the regional championships. And then, once we get to the regional championships, all bets are off. I mean, those are like, for an amateur angler, these regional championships are your Bassmaster Classic. And so that's what we're shooting for all year. And, it's a lot to take on. I mean, that's 12 tournaments, right? 1, 2, 3, I'm looking at it. Looking at the schedule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's 12 tournaments, counting the championships. And it's a lot. Like I said, more. More is the word. Everything is more. And it's more opportunity. It's more rewards. This year is a little bit different. This year is going to be, last year FLW and MLF combined, so things are a little bit different. But the biggest change this year is the new price points on entry fees. Last year the entry fee was $300 per tournament. This year it is $200. So because of that, just like I said, the word for this year is more. There's going to be more competition. Already this year, the first BFL this year was a full field. They actually had to start turning people away. They had 230 anglers participating in it. And so they had to start turning people away. 230 anglers in a regular season BFL is crazy. And the reason for that is, that was the first tournament of the year. Was that Sam Rayburn, I think? The reason for those huge turnouts is, I feel like, because of the acquisition the FLW made with it, or MLF made with the FLW. And because of that acquisition, they lowered the entry fees by 33%. And that makes it more affordable for the average guy to come fish. And so that's why you saw the numbers at the beginning of this year, the first tournaments in these divisions are through the roof. So when we go to Norman this weekend, I fully expect a 200 boat field. I would be shocked if it's less than 180, but I fully expect a 200 boat field. I paid my entry fee early just so I could make sure I wasn't one of the ones that, got stuck, at boat, the field, got full before I was able to pay my entry fee. So I'm locked in. But I expect a really, really big field for this weekend on Norman. Lots of competition and a lot of local sticks. As a BFL angler that lives 4 hours away from some of these places, that is my biggest problem. That's what I'm struggling with, competition-wise, is beating locals. We can go back to High Rock in 2018. I got beat by a local guy. I weighed in like almost 19 pounds, I thought, and I got beat by a local guy who weighed in 25 pounds. And that's cool. That's great. That's great. But what I'm telling you, I mean, I'm okay with me losing like that. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is, your competition here, it's really hard to win a BFL as a guy who doesn't live on that lake and fishes it 3 or 4 times a week. So that's something you have to compete with as well. You can't just feel good about going to Lake Norman and catching a limit. Like, you got to catch a giant limit, because you got to outdo the local guys there that know every nook and cranny, every creek channel, every brush pile, and they have a leg up on you already. So your practice and preparation going into these events is really, really important. So as far as what's, this weekend, what's going down, just like I said, the word here is more. I'm putting more practice time in this year. So I'm prepared to take more vacation time from work. And so typically what I do is I take Thursday and Friday off before each event. This year, at least for these first couple events, I want to take Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, and get 3 hard days in, especially these first couple, because I have so little experience on Norman and so little experience on Lake Wiley. So I need all the time there I can get for practice. So that's the way we're starting. So this week, I'll be on Norman for 3 days, and then the tournament will be on the 4th day. I'm very, very fortunate where I work for a company that works with me for time off, and if it wasn't for that, I couldn't do it. But this weekend, man, I'm really nervous about it. I really, truly am. I'm nervous about going to Norman. I'm nervous about. I want to start this year off on the right foot. I want to have a really solid finish. And because I'm investing so much this year, so much in travel time, so much in, gas costs, hotel costs, I'm investing a lot. It's really important for me to go to these tournaments and do more than just get points, And by that, I mean, hey, let's just be honest. You got to cash checks, man. You got to cash checks. And I really want to win one of these. I want to win bad. I've been close at least twice to winning, and I felt like I was on a winning pattern a couple more times. And I almost made the day 2 cut last year on Smith Mountain Lake, and once you make that day 2 cut, you always got a shot at winning. But man, I've been close, and I want it. I want it bad. I want to win one of these. I want the big trophy, and so I really hope that comes this year. But one thing's for sure, no one's going to outwork me this year. No one's going to out-hustle me. No one's going to say they put in more than I did, because I'm prepared. I'm prepared to put in all I got for these 12 events. And I'm going to do everything in my power to put myself in a position where I can give myself the opportunity to succeed. And that's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. Season 4 is all about opportunity and all about more. Let's go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get on Norman. I got it, the boat's ready to go, and chart, everything's good. I got a 4-hour trip to get there. I don't know what to expect. I'm sure somebody's watching this is going to fish that event this week. I'm sure you're wondering what I'm going to do, or maybe I can give you an advice. I can't give you any advice on Lake Norman. I don't know what I'm doing until I get there. I don't know what they're eating. I have a decent idea, but God knows there is so much YouTube. There's so much content on Lake Norman on YouTube. It's ridiculous. And I don't want to expose myself to any of that. I don't want to go into there knowing I need to throw a red crankbait. I don't want to go to Norman knowing I need to throw a number 5 red shad wrap. Because if you go into an event like this with your mind set on something, you may be leaving opportunity on the table. So I don't know how Norman is. I know I'm going to start out, I know what I'm going to start out doing on Norman, and then I'm going to take it hour by hour and try to find that winning pattern. So that's that. That's all it is. It's just me trying to find that winning pattern. I don't know. I don't have any other advice for anybody on Lake Norman, other than to fish your ass off and just put everything you got into it. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing this week. I'm ready to get this year started. It's a big year for me. It's a prove it year for me. So let's go prove it.
I'm really grateful for you watching the video and follow me throughout the whole year. And I'd like to encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss any content, because I'm promising you this is going to be one heck of a year.